Okay, so let's, without any further ado, let me go into, and thank you again, Cynthia, for your support. Let me go back in and take a moment to introduce our commissioner, Judy Lowe. I am, she's been doing this for a little bit of a while now as commissioner. I'm not sure if she's the longest seated commissioner yet ever, but I can tell you she's done the most impressive modifications, with her starting off with her team, where she was focused on a typical team concept. Maybe she'll bring it up, maybe not. But again, I don't know if you guys remember when we used to have to go wait 2-3 hours in line to renew our license, or get a new license, submit for application. It was all manual and things of this nature. And under her watch, she has certainly seen technology abound. We can do pretty much almost everything online now. Just recently, I had the honor of being on one of her one of the panels to review committees to review whether remote education should continue beyond the COVID requirements. Once social distancing is eliminated and groups of 50 or 25 or 50 and more are able to gather, and she is very forward thinking, because out of the committee, the answer was we thought that it was a good idea to continue doing remote CE, and she embraced that. And so I'm just really impressed with her forward thinking and glad that she is in the role that she is. But let me do a formal introduction, if you would allow me to indulge. Judy Lowe is the commissioner of the Arizona Department of Real Estate, involved in the state's commercial, residential, land, and relocation real estate industry for more than 30 years as a realtor. Judy has served as the president of both the Tucson Association of Realtors and the Arizona Association of Realtors. Working her way up from a real estate secretary, Judy received her first real estate license in 1980, became broker in 1986, was co-owner of a Coldwell Banker Success Realty by 1992, and followed with this ownership of Realty Executive Southern Arizona. As state commissioner, she's made it her goal to raise the bar for all licensees in Arizona to fully protect and to serve the public. With that, let me introduce to you Commissioner Lowe. And I know she's on, so maybe her microphone.
I am on.
There you go.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And because of Todd, and we'll get to a little bit of it later, we did put in place the host remote as a permanent delivery method. But let's start out with what our topic is today. What did we learn in 2020, and what does the future look like? No one tells that story better than Mr. Young. To hear Lawrence again was such a treat, and Todd, thanks for organizing that. Lawrence and I worked together at the National Association of Realtors. Remember back in 2009 when Vicki Cox Golder from Arizona was the president of the National Association of Realtors. Well, she appointed me to serve on her leadership team to look at affordable housing and home ownership and housing heroes. What a wonderful experience, but working very closely with Lawrence was one of the benefits of being able to serve back then it was only 1.1 million realtors in the United States. Now look how we've grown to 1.4. One of the toughest decisions I had to make when I took over this position in 2009 was that I had to give up my realtor membership. Imagine if you had to give up your membership in the realtor organization. However, I made that decision. I've been here going on 11 years, almost 11 years, and really enjoy everything I do. But let's look at the numbers of Arizona. You know, Lawrence touched on them a little bit, but let's look at it from a real estate perspective. This isn't specifically real estate, but Governor Ducey just gave the directors, his cabinet, this memo the other day. Arizona is adding home ownership faster than any state in the nation. a sign of continuing economic momentum in the state. And that's because we really have done what many of us believe, most of us believe, are making the right decisions when it comes to the economic presence of Arizona. Remember back in March, we were all hanging on a limb wondering if we were going to be designated as an essential service, whether our job was going to be essential. Well, it was very quick. It didn't take a lot of pressure, but it was very quickly decided that yes, Arizona real estate profession would be an essential service. And we have been able to retain that essential service. Primarily, I believe, because within our profession, we've been doing it right. We've been showing all of the adherence to the requirements of the pandemic that we're in, and we want to continue to do that. Let's look at the numbers as it applies to Arizona, the profession. I like to always say that we're almost at 89,000 real estate licensees in the state of Arizona, 89,000. Now, I will tell you that that is down from 93,000 when I took over in 2009. So we still have a little catching up to do, but most of it has been around just that tough time that we had in 2000 to 2011, 2012, when we had such a decline in the real estate market in Arizona. But look how we survived. Look where we've come to. 89,000, 65,000 of those 89 are active in the trenches, just like most of you here today. We're looking at about 7,000 brokerages out of that 89,000. 7,000 brokerages and self-employed brokers are in the profession in Arizona today. What are we seeing with new licensees getting their license, most of them for the first time? Well, back in April, May, and June, we were way down. Our test centers were closed. No one was being able to go to a classroom and get their 90 hours of education, pre-licensing education. But then all of a sudden, the test centers opened. The Arizona Department of Real Estate put in place the ability for pre-licensing education to be delivered via host remote. So we had the ability for our potential licensees to be able to get their education through the live streaming capabilities of our schools. 90 hours of pre-licensing education. That is allowing us now in the month of September and October, we're almost back up to where we were back in February. Back in February, we were at about 650 new licensees activating their new license every month. Every month. Well, in September and October, we are seeing about 550 to 600. That's a real recovery. And this is a good thing. It's a good thing for Arizona. It's a good thing for our profession. We always need to be growing the future of our profession as we're looking forward to the future. So I see all those things as positives. What do the numbers show us? Remember, Lawrence talked about the new home building supply that many states are not putting in place. They're not looking at what's going to deliver the new home supply for our buyers as the buyer clientele increase. And I'll tell you that in the month, we base our numbers on fiscal year. Our fiscal year at the department just ended June 30th of 2020. So in 2020, the real estate department processed more public report requests than any year in the history for the past 10 years. We were at over 1,000. It was actually 1,089 public report requests that were given to new home builders to deliver to the buyer, potential home buyer, when they get ready to sign their purchase agreement. They get a copy of the public report, which are all the characteristics of that particular community. So that is an indicator that Arizona is preparing for and will be prepared to deliver the new home inventory, which is so dynamic and so pertinent to the future of real estate in Arizona. Now, looking at how many complaints we receive, and everybody always asks me this number, so I thought I'd just deal with it right up front. You know, anybody can send in a complaint against anybody. And when a buyer or a seller are dissatisfied, the first place they go is to the real estate licensee. So here at the department, we receive about 200 complaints every month. But we boil it down, we research it, we look at whether it really falls under the jurisdiction of Arizona law for the Department of Real Estate. Many things don't. Landlord-tenant issues don't come into play, not even in property management, unless there's been a violation of the property management laws. But all of those complaints go over to the Department of Housing, who oversee the tenant's position and the landlord's position in determining things like the return of the security deposits and that type of thing. So we see about 200, just maybe slightly more, complaints coming in. We dissect it out. Only about 50 are transferred on as violations that need to be researched. So when we look at violations that need to be researched, we come up with not very many monthly numbers of actual violators of the Arizona statutes and rules, which the Department of Real Estate oversees. That gives you a little bit of a picture of the background of what the numbers look like in Arizona. But let's always focus back on being an essential service. Our profession is essential to the economy of Arizona, and it really falls on our shoulders to deliver on that so we can always maintain that. Going forward, what does ADRE look like? Well, we're at about 28 employees. I will tell you that's down from 70 employees when I took over in 2009. We're at about 28 employees. We never have more than 10 in the office. Everyone else is teleworking. Our office employees are acting as the conduit to shift very proprietary information on our real estate database, such as social security numbers of our real estate licensees, personal information of our real estate licensees. That's very proprietary information. We cannot allow outside access to that information. So our essential staff in the office, no more than 10 a day, are transferring that information out to our telework staff. So that telework staff stays involved in performing for what we see our customer base. Our customer base is the real estate profession of Arizona. Our constituents, where our mission says we have to protect them, and that's all the residents of Arizona. But our customer base are the 89,000 real estate licensees in Arizona, and we are bound to continue to perform for you. We are keeping in touch with our home base. We meet with them usually every morning, and we leave all of them at home and in the office. And our leadership team meets at the end of every day to exchange what we've done during the day and how we've stayed on top of serving the profession. It has remained to be an exciting time in Arizona real estate. But the market dynamics, when you see, according to Lawrence's charts, real estate has stayed right up there. We saw a little bit of a dip in March and April, but here we are back up there again. And there are lots of market dynamics that we as real estate professionals need to be looking at. As a real estate licensee, we have to remember our fiduciary duty to our client. That is the individual in the real estate transaction that we represent. And we also have to remember that we treat everyone fairly, not just the client that we owe our fiduciary duty to. So what do the market dynamics say? They say that there are going to be challenges with the appraisals. The appraisals supporting the sales price of a property when every day that pricing is going up every day. So that appraiser has to know that not only do you look at what was the market a year ago or 6 months ago, it needs to be what is the difference? What is the market requiring as a market value in today's market right now? So let's really make sure when that appraiser is going out to look at our seller's property, the listing for our buyer or someone else's buyer, that we are communicating with that appraiser, not to tell them what to do or how to do it, but to tell them about the dynamics of the market. Maybe even giving them a copy of Lawrence's report or an MLS report, and letting them know what's going on in this market and what our buyer and seller expect of them when they deliver that appraisal report. So I would look at the appraisals as a dynamic of this market. The other is, and I have to get my finger out and do a little directing here, we have to present all offers. Doesn't matter where those offers come from, they have to be presented to the seller. And they have to be presented expeditiously. And when that seller declines that offer must be marked rejected by the seller. So there is a history that every offer was presented to the seller. Those rejected offers, when you receive them, have got to be turned in to the designated broker, because the designated broker is bound to retain accepted and rejected offers. Accepted offers, they have to retain for 5 years. Rejected offers, they have to retain for a year. So when that buyer consumer calls the department and says, I don't believe that agent even presented my offer, it's opened as a complaint maybe. And with the first thing we ask for is a copy of the rejected offer. We ask for it from the listing company and from the buyer's agent, because that's proof. That'll close that complaint so fast, we won't have a violation. So it's a win-win all the way around. We've satisfied the complainant. They know their offer was presented and it was rejected. We've satisfied the needs of the designated broker who has to have it in their file. We've satisfied the needs of the buyer's agent who has to have asked for it. One of the questions that's probably going to come forward is, so what do you do when the agent on the other side says, I can't get that to you right now? Do an email, request it again, and put a delivery date on when you need to have it back, so you can turn it in to your designated broker, because no one can be too busy to not deliver the rejected offer. Someone at a presentation I did yesterday said, yes, but the rejected offer is on the last page of the purchase agreement. I said, so have your seller write right across the front page of the purchase agreement, rejected, date and time, and sign it, that they, the seller, offer. That is the number one message that needs to be delivered right now in the market that we're in, because the department's phone is ringing with individual buyers who believe that their offer was never accepted. You guys can take care of that right up front by getting that taken care of and sent in to Dwayne right up front. And the other thing is, don't forget to save all those rejected offers in your file as well. And make sure you can make sure that your buyer gets a copy of it right up front. And they see that it was presented. Now let's get out and find your second choice after that one and get another offer to present. The other thing, once a seller is in escrow and a better offer comes in, please do not coach him, the seller, on what to do to get out of the offer. Let the contract dictate that. Don't start telling the buyer, well, you could do this, or you could do, the seller, that you could do this, or you could do that, or don't do that. It only causes conflict, and it only causes ramifications when the seller wants to blame you when they didn't stay in an escrow, or when they don't receive another offer just as good, or the second offer that they got out of the escrow on the first offer falls through. All of those dynamics cause blame to the real estate professional. So keep it business, just stick to the contract issues and talk to your designated broker often. Let's see if there was anything else. Oh, one other thing, that this is a touchy subject, but it does help in a market that we're in. Many years ago, there was a rule written that the real estate licensee representing the seller could shop all offers to get the best offer for the seller, when their fiduciary duty lay with the seller. In other words, they're representing the seller. Usually doesn't work in a dual agency situation. So be very careful, and please talk to your designated broker about it before you move into it. And then if your designated broker agrees, you can go to the seller and say, we have 5 offers here. Do I have your written authorization to let all 5 of those buyers know what the offers on the table are, and they can meet or beat them? Get the seller's okay. So it's always on, the monkey for this decision is on the seller's back, that they gave you authorization to do it. But then you forward the highest and best price, best, because sometimes it's not the highest price that is the best offer for a seller. And of course, it is the seller's decision. Making sure that the seller knows that they're making this decision. You're not going to have a complaint at the real estate department after closing or later in this listing agreement that you told them what to do. You're not telling them what to do. You're telling them what their options are, and they're making that decision. I think we can minimize the complaints and the violations if we just always let our consumer know that the monkey is on their shoulders for making the decision in a real estate transaction. We can coach them, We can show them their options, but they, when they sign their name, are making that decision. So though that's one of the dynamics with multiple offers in a tight market with limited inventory. Don't panic, just treat it like a business and move forward with it, always knowing exactly what is good for the person you represent. Let's see, I think my time is almost up and I wanted to leave time for questions. I want to just restate before I close that our governor is saying that home ownership in Arizona is growing faster than any state in the nation, a sign of continuing economic momentum in Arizona. The other thing is, don't forget to create a new earring, or for guys, it's just an ear adornment where you carry that mask on your ear and can pull it up at any time that you need. I know that's very controversial to many. However, it is what is going to get us out of this. Todd, would you like to let me know if there were any questions?
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, just, the thing I liked about your presentation today, I guess, in difference to the conversations that you would normally share in an office environment, I want to thank you, because the information you've been providing is totally different than if you walked into an office and had a typical conversation there. And that's really what this was all about, was giving people information that would help them do their business and rise to the aspirational ideals we have in real estate for a practitioner. So, everybody always has a tendency to look at laws and the commissioner as, the bad guy, if you would, bad entity. So I did have a question. What ways can realtors stay abreast of the changes of what's going on at the Department of Real Estate, late breaking news, things of this nature, to kind of promote the communication process between the department and the licensee?
Great question. Great question. Please visit our new website, azre.gov. It's very modern, it's very flashy, it's beautiful, has lots of photography taken around Arizona. But there is the ability down at the bottom to register for our late breaking news. And you put in your email address, it automatically lists you then on our distribution. And then you begin to get all of the updates, all of the latest news. You even get when a company is closed down with a cease and desist or a license is revoked. The late breaking news actually lets you, the real estate professional, know that this is not someone that you want to continue to do business with. Their license is revoked. Or if a company is closed, you don't present offers to that company any longer. So if you want to be kept abreast, please register for azre.gov, the late breaking news, and stay tuned to what's going on at the department. Our brokers, our designated brokers, get the ADRE updates. Usually the late breaking news gets most of those ADRE updates, has lots to keep abreast of what's going on in the new laws that are coming down, and what's going on as far as the violations at the department. We also do a newsletter once a quarter, and that newsletter is distributed to everyone who is on our late breaking news. So please go to the Arizona azre.gov, register for late breaking news. And while you're on there, go over there to your personal page where you renew your license every 2 years, and make sure that your address is accurate, your phone number, your contact information, and your email are accurate. Because remember, it is a violation if you don't update your your personal information within 10 days of a change on that personal information. So just flip over there, go to, it says renew license. It'll take you to your personal page and you can update all your personal information. Did that answer your question, Todd?
Of course, as always, you do an excellent job of ensuring that each the different aspects of the questions are answered as well. So thank you for that. There was also a couple of other things, and I know time-wise, we're also at that limit for you as well. And again, thank you so very much for your time today and for you, carving that out to spend with each and every one of us and sharing the information that you have shared. I want to talk on two quick topics real quick. And I think our answers probably need to be somewhat equally as the brevity as well based on time. But of course, realtors are obligated by Substantive Policy Statement 2005.14, which is duties to clients, which basically says that Arizona Administrative Code R4281101 duties to clients is the job of every realtor to ensure that this is the standard of service that they provide with each client. And then it also indicates that the Department of Real Estate has in its policing power and its penalty power to use Arizona Revised Statute 322153, which is basically, in short, the commissioner's right to suspend, deny, or revoke a real estate license. And that, of course, lists all the things that you can't do with any client in the real estate activity that you perform. So I don't know that a lot of agents understand, because some of the things you talked about today are in there. And as a result, if we're really trying to raise that bar in the industry, and we're really trying to ensure, in any market that we're giving the consumer the best service, the greatest experience ever, those are still in play. You take that quite seriously, right?
Yes, and I think that something that can be used as a marketing tool is to share those two items that you mentioned, Todd, with our potential customer, with our customer base, in our personal marketing. Let the consumer know the value that the real estate licensee brings to the table, the protection of working with a real estate licensee. How many of you have ever been asked, do you have a real estate license? No, the consumer doesn't even think about that. There are many, many out there practicing real estate without a license. We see it every day. Thanks for bringing that up, Todd. Yeah. That's valuable.
And the last piece, which, again, based on time, I won't ask any more questions, although I must have written down 10, is basically when you indicated about presenting the offer, we both the code of ethics as well as statutorily, it says that obviously it must be done expeditiously, as you said, but it says without regard for, whether it was intentionally or by neglect. So as the way the law reads. So in essence, do you find that an agent who says, that it's not written necessarily anywhere in the listing, though that really I don't think matters in MLS, but they say, oh, I can't present the offers until Tuesday or Sunday, but yet my client and I, when we presented our offer to the listing agent, in the terms of acceptance, had a time frame that was in there that say it was 9 o'clock tonight. And so by the act of not sharing that offer, presenting that offer to their client in a timely manner so as the consumer can perform rejected or accepted or volley by that and get that counteroffer or the acceptance over to the submitting agent by that the time and the terms of acceptance, they're really failing in their fiduciary duty because and I'm trying to get your perspective on this, because if they hold it and don't present it till Sunday or whatever day I said, Tuesday, they've exceeded the terms of acceptance agreement because they haven't been able to perform within that time in there. And as a result, maybe the buyer is no longer available. So that tactic didn't really work. And I wonder, in protecting the consumer, if that agent should be the listing agent should be telling their seller, hey, listen, yeah, holding all these offers till Sunday sounds like a great idea, But in reality, if we get an offer in and it has a time for acceptance tonight, I have to deliver it to you tonight or today to be able to have you perform in time. And I'm seeing so many listing agents bullying the buyer's agents to modifying that time until Saturday or Sunday or Monday or whatever they've given as their time that they're going to present all offers. And in a way that somewhat damages the consumer. What's the department's take on that practice?
Well, I'm not going to define expeditiously for you.
That's fine.
However, whatever we do, whether we're the listing agent or the buyer's agent, it better be consistent. It better be consistently applied to every offer that comes in, including a dual agency offer by the listing agent. And it better be documented that it's consistently applied, not just because of the laws of Arizona, but also discrimination is play now. So many things are coming into play as to preferential treatment being given to certain individuals within a real estate transaction. Consistency is the thing. If it's if expeditious for your seller, get it in writing from the seller that they're saying, don't bring me any offers until this date, and then collect all the offers. If you're representing a buyer and you find out that there's a absolute deadline date for all offers to be presented to the seller all at one time, let your buyer know that, because they may have another house they would rather write on before this one gets presented on Monday morning and this is Tuesday afternoon. Consistency in everything we do, treating all parties fairly, because remember, fiduciary is one thing, that's who we represent, but everyone gets treated fairly. And it doesn't specify that the other professional in the transaction shouldn't be treated fairly too. So let's remember that treating fairly goes across the board to everyone involved in the real estate transaction.
Well, that's awesome. And Commissioner Lowe, thank you as always. We really appreciate your time. And if we can do anything for you as in the industry, please let us know. We'll do our best to continue to provide great service for our consumers. Thank you.
You and Dwayne always do that. Thank you, Todd.
It's my honor.